all right. It looks like we're ready to go here, going live. I see you guys are getting pumped up. Aslan Lion, Steve. Yeah, man, I'm here. I'm in my fall duds. My favorite color is October. I've got to say that's one of I think that's one of the best things of growing up in the Northeast. Certainly not its politics, but just the ambiance of fall. It's absolutely wonderful. Come on in, everybody. Wow, do we have a lot to chat about today? We are experiencing a monumental day. I'm going to get ready for a nice cigar today. I have not had a cigar in I don't know how long. It's been weeks. I think I'm going to go out and going to get a nice Partagas, and I'm going to sit back on my porch, my backyard porch, and I am going to savor the I want to call it astonishing, but I use that word too much. I think the unfathomable victory that we all woke up to this morning that we have no idea of. This goes beyond even elections. You've got to get that. This goes beyond a 2016 election. What happened last night, it was late last night, and what we're waking up to this morning is that monumental. That's coming from Tucker Carlson. He believes precisely that what just happened on the single most used, most popular, most powerful social media platform on the planet, what just happened is going to be a game changer like we never even imagined. This is going to so crush the mainstream media narrative. It's going to be beyond anything we can, and a week and a half going to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. I hit the table there, and I think I interrupted our feed here on my computer. Oh no, what's going on? Am I getting it? Is everything okay? I hope it's still okay. Oh, I had such a great feed, and then I smacked it. Forgive me. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can adjust the feed here. It's very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. Let's get it. Not quite. All right. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to leave it alone. What do you think? Should I leave it alone? It says I've got an excellent connection. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat down below. Oh, this is so awesome. Are they unbanning everyone? Yes. The answer is absolutely yes. They are unbanning everyone. That's what I understand. We'll be talking about that. Today in due course. So, welcome to Livestream Friday. I'm here to answer your questions. So super chats are up. So go ahead and put in the super chat. Any question you have, I'll answer them throughout the live stream. We've got so much to talk about here, gang. We are witnessing right before our very eyes. Oh, thank you, Margaret. You're giving me connection is perfect. Excellent. All right. Just want to make sure. I want only the best for you guys. You are my audience, and you are the most precious. Well, next to my family, of course, the most precious things in my life. I love you guys. So, all right. We are witnessing today, gang, nothing less, in my opinion, than a global insurrection. This is the true insurrection. We all know that the FBI did a full investigation of what happened on J6, right? And there was no insurrection, even though the media keeps trying to push that there was. What the media, I think, is really beginning to freak out about is we are, as of this morning, witnessing a true insurrection. I don't know how many of you are on Twitter, but if not, go set up account. Go set up an account, because you will not believe the Patriot storm that has taken over Twitter. You're not going to, it's going to blow your mind. Having seen it with my own eyes, I can, without any reservation whatsoever, declare that the era of woke Twitter is officially over. Let's do a hand. Come on, gang. What's that? Scott Adams has got a simultaneous sip. Let's do a simultaneous applause. The era of woke Twitter, the era of wokeness that has dominated Twitter for over a decade is over. It's done. It's dead. It is gone. The wokeness that infested the single most popular and important global instant messaging platform on the planet has been officially vanquished. The dragon has been slain. And Elon, there you go. There's all the applause. Awesome. Elon Musk is the Aragon who brandished the sword that severed the wicked heart of wokeness. Again, it doesn't matter what you think of Elon Musk. In the Christian faith, we have a saying, God draws straight lines with crooked sticks, okay? It doesn't matter who brandished the sword and severed the wicked heart of this woke, cut off that head. It doesn't matter. The army of patriots all across the globe are now, as we speak, descending on and occupying their newly conquered realm. We are witnessing a true insurrection. This is a bona fide uprising against progressive powers that over the last decade mercilessly enforced the most far left lunacy imaginable upon every aspect of this global messaging platform. Tens, if not hundreds of thousands of accounts have been suspended and permanently banned over that last decade for no other reason on the planet than simply offending the woke leftist sentiments of the Democrat-infested Twitter overlords. They didn't break any laws. They didn't violate any FCC regulations. They made no threats. They didn't advocate violence. Their only crime was a thought crime. Their only crime was a thought crime. They thought in ways that the regime, the woke regime, despised. And that's the key. That's absolutely key. Jordan Peterson has long argued that essentially there is no difference between speech and thought. If we're going to be free to think, we must be free to speak. And this is precisely because so much of our thought is organized verbally. How many of you talk to yourselves? You ask my wife and my kids, when I go into my office, shut the door, especially to do workouts, script notes for a YouTube video, they think I'm on the phone. They think somebody's in the room with me. Not that there's two voices going on. I'm not possessed, but I have to verbally think through that. That's the connection. I have to verbally organize my thinking. My thinking isn't just imagery. All of our thinking isn't just imagery. Our thinking is often, which, by the way, it's very much dominated by imagery, but it is often consists of words. And so when we talk to ourselves, we're thinking. It's thinking out loud. That's basically what talking to yourself is. And what Jordan Peterson's pointed out is that what we think getting expressed in words, if those words get canceled, in effect, the overlords of cancel culture are trying to cancel our thoughts. This is the Orwellian notion of wrongthink, right? And so what we've seen over the last 10 years is that tens, if not hundreds of thousands of accounts have been suspended and banned solely because they were guilty of verbally expressing thoughts that woke leftist ideologues have the unmitigated gall, the utterly despicable, repulsive gall to claim are not allowed to be thought. Let that effing hit you. Leftist liberal ideology has become so tyrannical, so dogmatic, so domineering, so uncompromising, they won't even allow you to freely think. And then they turn around and claim that we're the authoritarians. We're the threat to democracy. Peterson's absolutely right. If we are going to be free thinkers, we must be free to speak. And last night, in the middle of the night, when it comes to the single largest speech platform on the planet, that freedom has been fully and unequivocally restored. Patriots have officially taken over Twitter. And wait until you hear the first things that Musk did last night as a result of his official takeover. This is not the cherry on the, this is the whipped cream on the sundae. It's going to absolutely make your day. Gang, first, let's pay some bills here. I got to pay for the lights here. And you got to meet my good friend Josh Zaglowski if you are a business owner. Josh is co-founder of ERC Specialists. He has an amazing payroll protection company exclusively dedicated to understanding and maximizing what's called the CARES Act Employee Retention Credit. That's what ERC stands for. If you're a small business owner looking to get up to $26,000 back from bumbling Biden, $26,000 per employee back from bumbling Biden, click on that link in the description below and see if you qualify today. It's an absolutely amazing opportunity. All right, good. Now the lights are staying on. All right, so what did Musk do last night? He did two major things. First things he did as the new CEO of Twitter, the head twit, as he referred to himself on his public account. First, he immediately fired Twitter chief executive Parag Agrawal. Parag Agrawal is gone. He's out of there. Agrawal was a lunatic. He was a leftist lunatic who mocked and ridiculed the notion of free speech. He's gone. He's fired. Then Musk fired Chief Financial Officer Ned Siegel. But then my personal favorite, these were his top three firings, Siegel, Agrawal, and then Musk fired Legal Affairs and Policy Chief Vijaya Gadde. Now, if you don't know who Vijaya Gadde is, she's the person who was most responsible for permanently banning President Trump from Twitter. This is beyond ironic justice. This is beyond Haman and the gallows, building his own gallows and not realizing it. The very person most responsible, the very person who actually ran around going to MSNBC and CNN and championing her decision to permanently ban Trump, she has now herself been permanently banned. Banned from her job, of course. Are we having fun yet? Are you guys having fun or what? I mean, come on. You can only imagine how many people who were trolling her Twitter account last night after the news broke out that she had been fired. I don't even know if she heard about it or not before she found out from Patriots going on her Twitter feed. And they were saying, hey, when are you going to remove your public profile descriptor that you're the legal affairs and policy chief? Because if you don't, your account's going to have to be suspended for pushing disinformation. I mean, they were doing the same thing to Agrawal and Sagal. Everyone was utterly pouncing on them. Hey, guys, you need to change your profile. You're pushing disinformation. You might get suspended. So that's the first thing that Elon Musk did, is he fired the high priests who were enforcing the wokeness, or who were demanding the enforcement of wokeness at Twitter. They're gone. The head of the serpent's been cut off. And then he announced that all suspended accounts will be reinstated. So as I understand it, that includes everyone. He is taking his commitment to free speech very seriously, which he has to for this business model to work. Because remember, what Elon Musk basically did is he turned free speech into a business model, right? Remember, after news broke that he was going to buy Twitter, Twitter's stock valuation went through the roof. I forget, was it 40% increase or something like that in their stock value? He turned free speech into a very lucrative multi-billion-dollar business model, which thank God for, if you think it through. Because now I'm waiting for Peter Thiel to take over Google. All right, if I want to see what Musk did, and we'll be talking about that in a moment, because I think that's the next phase. That's where we're entering. We're entering into an age now where patriot billionaires are going to start taking over stuff, because they see the money that can be made by pushing free speech. So, as I understand it, this revoking of suspensions includes everyone, and that, of course, includes most especially President Trump. For me, one of my favorite accounts, and I'm just going to give him a shout out there because they held the line so bravely. One of my favorite accounts that's coming back is Babylon Bee. How many Babylon Bee fans do we have out there? Oh, you guys, are they not the best, right? They're an absolutely amazing conservative Christian satirist site, some of the best humor that's out there today. They've been locked out of their account since March. And they were locked out of their account for publishing what the woke warriors over at Twitter called a transphobic tweet about Rachel Levine. The powers that be said that Babylon Bee would be locked out of their accounts until they deleted this supposedly offensive tweet. Now, remember, back in the day, if an account said something offensive, so if you came across an account that was offensive to you, what did you do? What did you do? You clicked and went to another account, or you personally blocked that account so you would never see it again, right? Simple, easy, right? It's called free speech. That's part of your free speech, right? But today, we now have the equivalent of a morality police who have taken it upon themselves to enforce the most leftist, neurotic sensibilities imaginable. So the CEO of the Babylon Bee, Seth Dillon, said that the tweet was not any kind of phobic, and it was not meant to be any kind of phobic. The tweet, he affirmed, this is his argument, he affirmed was pure biological truth. And that, as far as Seth Dillon was concerned, what the guardians of the woke Twitterverse had a problem with is they had a problem with truth. And they wanted him to delete truth. And he refused. And so the Babylon Bee Twitter feed, with over 1 million followers, has since been frozen since March. Well, now it's been announced they're about to get their site back. And so I came across this tweet. You're going to love it. Kyle Smith, who's a movie critic, film critic for the Wall Street Journal, he tweeted out this amazing tweet. Ready? Banning the Babylon Bee turned out to be as wise as killing John Wick's dog. Is that not cool for you John Wick fans? All of you should be. I can't wait for number 4 coming out, by the way. Is that not amazing? Banning the Babylon Bee turned out to be as wise as killing John Wick's dog. That's brilliant. So needless to say, the remaining wokesters on Twitter were utterly shocked and dumbfounded by what got unleashed last night when it was announced that Elon Musk took over and the CEOs enforcing the woke madness were all fired. My favorite was a tweet from the insufferable Taylor Lorenz, the ultra-leftist who doxed the founder of the libs of TikTok. Speaking of, their account now is perfectly secure. God bless them, because I love libs of TikTok. She freaked out, Taylor Lorenz, over Patriots taking over Twitter, and she tweeted out, "It's like the gates of hell opened up on the site tonight. I can't believe it." Yeah, it's like the gate. Yeah, that's basically what happened last night, is that a woke person's vision of hell was unleashed. And of course, everyone's saying, cry harder, Taylor, cry harder. The Washington Post led with a headline this morning: Twitter trolls are back with their racist, bigoted posts. Again, we need to reiterate here, these are the people who literally want to ban your thinking. They want to shut down your thoughts. That's who these people are. And they weaponize cultural Marxist categories like racism and sexism and all kinds of phobics that they're, of course, never guilty of. They weaponize it as excuses to cancel the verbal expressions of your thoughts. That's who these people are. And they just lost the single largest, most important global messaging platform on the planet. And so then that leads us to our final question here, gang. And then we'll get to all your answers to all your questions. So throw them in the super chat. What does all of this mean? What's really happening here? What are the real ramifications of what's happening? The long-term ramifications of Patriots taking over Twitter. It's huge. You're not going to believe it. It's absolutely wonderful. But I still have to pay a couple of bills. And speaking of Patriots, gang, make sure to click on the link below and support our dear friend, Patriot Mike Lindell, by getting yourself an amazing aromatic bag of Mike's brand new Mike coffee. Excuse me while I take a sip of this lovely coffee. I heard I put cream in my coffee, and I heard that's not good for you. But I'm sorry, I can't remove one of the great pleasures of life, which is cream and coffee. But you can get Mike's wonderful specialty coffee conveniently delivered right to your front door, and comes in a variety of flavors. It's ground or whole bean, plus it's certified organic, non-GMO. And the best part, you'll know with every sip, you are supporting a great patriot who's fighting for you, for faith, family, and freedom. Click on that link below or go to mystore.com. Use code Turley. You're going to get 25% off, not just the coffee, but all the products on my store. It's so awesome. So click on the link below and enjoy the best patriotic products with their best savings ever with code Turley. All right, so what's really happening here? I believe what we're seeing, when all's said and done, I'm trying to think big picture. I know there's a lot of different assessments of what's going on, but trying to think really, really big picture here. And that's what we try to do. We try to analyze current events in light of broader conservative trends, right? I believe what we're seeing is the next phase in the rise of the parallel economy that we're all talking about, right? Everybody's talking about building the parallel economy, right? All conservatives are talking about that now. I think we're seeing the next phase of that. And by the way, it's happening all over the world, the parallel economy. It's not just here in the United States. So a parallel economy, an economy totally free from wokeness, intentionally built around the core values of faith, family, and freedom, is rising up very organically all over the world. There's books on it now and everything. And what we're seeing here with Elon Musk and the Patriot takeover Twitter is the next phase of that economy. So far as I understand it, there's been 3 phases of the parallel economy, right? So the first phase is when scholars started noticing that Patriot entrepreneurs, again, around the world, were starting to invest in and finance numerous projects that seek to provide alternatives to the woke corporations that are acting in tandem with woke governments to suppress free speech and the patriotic sentiments of faith, family, and freedom. So scholars were calling these guys frontier innovators. These are the frontier innovator, and the frontier, by the way, is simply the innovation centers and entrepreneurial activity located outside of Silicon Valley and its woke counterparts like LA and New York and London. So this is an alternative economy that's rising up in places like Kansas, right, and Utah and Indiana. But it's also rising up in places like Kenya and Uganda and India, okay? And so we're seeing the rising up of nothing less than a parallel patriot society that wants nothing to do with the Silicon Valley wokeness. But by the same token, then, it's had to start with relatively modest means. It doesn't have the ultra billions that get poured into these unicorn companies that come out of Silicon Valley. So the very first phase were relatively humble beginnings. You know, it was just ordinary patriots, people who love faith, family, and freedom. A lot of you out there right now, you're finished with woke cancel culture, or some of you were victims of that insidious cancel culture. In many ways, I think I was in academia. More or less, I didn't get kicked out of academia in the university setting, but there was definitely a brick wall that I couldn't get through in terms of advancement in academia. So I left it, started my own parallel, media company here, and we're all taking our life savings and we're starting to invest them in building parallel structures. So we started seeing the building of parallel news media, like what we're doing here on Turley Talks, or parallel social media, like Andrew Torba of Gab and BitChute and the like, Minds.com. We saw the development of parallel currency, like crypto. I think that's how we have to understand Bitcoin and the Ether and so on, Ethereum. We saw it with parallel schools. That's been going on for the last 2 decades, particularly the surging in homeschooling, classical Christian schools, parallel colleges, Bible colleges, conservative colleges. We've got parallel payment processing systems like Gab Pay that have been rising up. We've got parallel medical insurance like healthcare cost-sharing organizations that the Amish have been using for decades. I actually just interviewed Andrew Krebischetz yesterday of redballoon.work. We'll probably have the video up this weekend. And he created redballoon.work, which is a parallel job finder site that's made up completely and totally of thousands and thousands of anti-woke companies. So patriot-owned companies and patriots finding each other. So this is all the first phase, all right? It tended to be just patriots, going all the way and saying, I've had it with woke cancel culture. Let's build a parallel economy. The second phase of that parallel economy is when the big investors started noticing, wow, there's a lot of money to be made in this parallel economy. And that's when the bigwigs started investing in it. And so that's where you start seeing the hundreds of millions coming in. Before then, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars getting poured into it. Now we're seeing hundreds of millions getting poured into it. So, of course, Trump with True Social, Mike Lindell with his various projects like My Store and Frank Social, the investors behind Rumble. We're now seeing, of course, Kanye West taking over Parler. That's the second stage. That's when major investors start coming in and taking the parallel economy to a whole new economic level because they've got the bucks to do it. What Musk represents, in my view, is the third phase of the parallel economy. And this is perhaps the most fun phase. This is the most fantastic phase. With Musk, we are now seeing the parallel economy rise up, spill over, and take over the mainstream woke ones. That, to me, is what is so radically significant about what's happening here with Elon Musk. We're not just dealing with, in perpetuity, two parallel economies, the mainstream woke one and then this alt parallel economy. No, the parallel economy now is getting so much interest, and it's attracting even the richest man on the planet, who's now bringing it up to such a level that it's crossing over the wall, the impenetrable wall, as it were, supposedly impenetrable. And now it's beginning to take over the woke world. So this is the next phase, that the parallel economy is so successful, it begins replacing the old woke one. And if the woke world begins losing its institutional leverage, like it had with owning Twitter, if the woke world loses its institutional leverage, it's done. It's over. And why? Why? Because that institutional leverage allowed this warped woke religion to enforce its own warped version of excommunication. Institutional leverage, having the institutional power, being the CEOs of companies and corporations, that allowed woke leftists to inflict cancel culture on those guilty of wrongthink. And when they no longer have that institutional leverage, when they can no longer excommunicate, what happens to their warped religion? What's the inevitable result? Put it in the chat. I think the biggest, most long-lasting takeaway in all of this is that we are seeing nothing less, as of this morning, the beginning of the end of woke cancel culture itself. There's nothing they can do to stop it. So today is a wonderful day, gang, to celebrate a true insurrection. Patriots have risen up and have taken over the biggest social media platform on the planet, which means we've begun to take over the woke world. No matter what narrative the media throws out there, we will respond on the largest media platform on the planet with our own counter-narrative. There is nothing they can do to stop us anymore, and there's no going back from here. Over to you, my dear friends. I love you so much. Let's answer some of those questions as I get over to Josh, our moderator, loading them up for me there. Josh, I know you're out there loading them up faithfully. Remember, gang, our brand new Turley Talks podcast has made it to the 14th most downloaded podcast for American news on Apple Podcasts. But you can help us get to number one by simply clicking on the link below and subscribing to my podcast. You can listen on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, you name it. So make sure to click on that link below, subscribe to download my podcast, and let's make it to number one together. All right, guys, let's rock and roll here. Let's see what some of the questions you got. Oh my, this is a fun day. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Oh, wow, we got lots of questions, don't we, Josh? All right, Marilyn Daggety 83. Do you think we're going to be able to stop the Democrats from stealing the election? It's really interesting you say that, because they're already talking about the election having integrity problems. The Democrats are, because they know they're going to get shellacked so badly. So, look, I mean, you're going to have areas that are notoriously problematic, just, in general. And again, we have to be a little careful here on YouTube. But, we're going to want to watch. There are going to be a couple of states we're going to have to watch out for. But generally speaking, we have to remember over the last year and a half, there have been excellent election integrity reform legislation passed, most particularly in Georgia, where Herschel Walker's exploding right now. He's surging past the warlock, and Florida and Arizona. And notice we're seeing Republicans just running away with it there. So anyway, that's what I think we need to focus on. Is focus on where we're going to rock and roll, which is most states where the contention is the most intense in terms of the election. Ohio passed some very, very good election integrity reform, so we should be okay. Pennsylvania, I don't know. It's a little scary. I think Oz after that October surprise, which was how bad Fetterman really was. I think Oz has got it in the bag. We'll have to see with Mastriano, because Mastriano is, I understand, he is struggling in eastern Pennsylvania. He's way down there where Oz is way up there. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And also with Philly and, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and all that. And Nevada, too. Keep an eye on Nevada, because they're notoriously problematic when it comes to elections. But outside of that, I think it's going to be it looks like it's going to be an amazing night. Let's see. Sean Tonneson, thank you so much, Sean, for your gift. D, hope this will pay for a decent cigar. Well, thank you. It will, actually. A nice part, I guess, is around just over $9. So thank you, D. That's very sweet of you. Whenever I felt depressed about the goings-on in the world, you would white pill me positive again. Thank you for all your hard work. Love to you and your family. D, thank you. God bless you. It's the thing that keeps me going, is making sure we're always looking at current events in light of larger trends, keeping our eyes on the big picture. And for 5 years, we've been saying nonstop, we've never demurred from the message, the winds are blowing in our direction. We are dealing with a very angry and very hateful and very powerful Mordor, but that's going to constantly trying to set us back and will often set us back. But the winds are blowing in our direction, and you're seeing the fruits of it. Particularly today, we're going to see it in a week and a half. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. Mitchell Ryan, what do you think of ballots being burned in a truck in Pennsylvania? Yeah, I heard something about it. Kind of worried that they were going to try it again. Again, I will have to see, Mitchell. Pennsylvania is a problematic state. We'll have to see. It's the most important thing Patriots can do, make sure you volunteer at the precinct. Make sure you volunteer. I think at most states you have to volunteer in the precinct in your own county or your own district. But whatever you do, make sure you volunteer, because the Bannon precinct strategy helped propel Youngkin over the finish line. That's what he did. If I recall, he trained 9,000 precinct workers. Mastriano's trying to get 10,000. He says, I just interviewed him, if you could catch the interview, aired last weekend. He's almost there, but everybody's got to do their part. Being a Patriot today, hear this, guys, hear this. How many people do we have on right now? What I'm going to say is huge. Yeah, 9,000. Okay, good. But it just dropped. Never mind. All right, but this is huge. Tell all your friends this. Being a patriot is not what's the word? Oh, I just lost it in my head. Being a patriot is not a spectator sport. I had bleachers in my head for some reason. Being a patriot is not a spectator sport. You do not get to be a patriot and a spectator. A patriot is a player. If you're a patriot, you are a player. We are all doing our part. I get my ass out of bed at 6 a.m. every morning to work as hard as I possibly can to bring you every single day, except for Sundays, every single day, video content that is going to inform you, that is going to inspire you, that's going to uplift you, and that's going to empower you to go out and fight the good fight. We are all fighting the good fight in our own ways, and nothing is wasted. Everything you do is done for the good. Just like what Samwise Gamgee said to Frodo. When Frodo was despairing and said, what's keeping us going? How can we keep doing this in the midst of all of this hate and all of this darkness and all of this oppression? What does Samwise Gamgee say? Mr. Frodo, there's some good in this world, and it is worth fighting for. That's what keeps us going. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you give $10 to a campaign, directly to the campaign, not to the RNC, not to the Republican Governors Association. That is a shameless shill for all things globalists. They are vile, and they should be shut down immediately. They're disgusting. They won't give a dime to Doug Mastriano. Absolutely disgusting. They're actually more or less, they're winking and nodding to get Josh Shapiro, the Democrat, into office in Pennsylvania. They're disgusting, disgusting people. But gang, whatever you do, it's being done to defend the good. It's being done to defend faith, family, and freedom. So being a patriot is not a spectator sport. Being a patriot is a player in some way, shape, or form. Get out there. And that's how we push back. There's no stopping that. That's how the Berlin Wall fell, gang. There is no stopping that. All right. Very good. Mitchell Ryan. Oh, I'm sorry. Gotcha, Mitchell. Hugh Thomas, Steve, you're supplying us with the best analysis out there. God bless. Hugh, thank you. That's you're being way too kind there, but thank you so much. And one of the things, I don't know if you notice, I've been bringing like the Duran boys and so on, Alex and Alexander. After we hit our million, we're almost at a million. After we hit our million, one of the celebration tours I want to do is I want to interview all my favorite YouTubers, the guys that inspire me. And so any suggestions, throw them my way. Definitely. I'd love to interview them. And so just so we're all celebrating what this wonderful gift that we have there. So thank you, Hugh. That was very kind. Tondalaya, when God is for us, who can be against us? Amen. Romans 8. Movie Dog, according to the Gateway Pundit, Pennsylvania Democrat officials mailed out 255,000 ballots to unverified voters, ignoring the Supreme Court ruling. Well, I'd have to see again, Movie Dog. We have to be careful here. Well, it hasn't happened yet, so I guess I'm fine with. And again, Democrats are already trying to make excuses. Pennsylvania is notorious. This is we went into this knowing that, and we're gonna have to see how it plays out. I'm hoping in the end, the basic trajectory. Remember the definitive study on midterms. I got to remember this guy's name. Without my notes, I forget his name. He's a scholar at the Ethics and Public Policy Center, and he just published a very interesting study on midterms going all the way back to the 1940s and 30s. And again, you've always had shenanigans. And what he just found is when all's said and done, nothing predicts the outcome of a midterm like presidential approval. The outcome is inextricably linked to presidential approval. If presidential approval is low, that president's party gets shellacked in the midterms. If the presidential approval is high, which is rare during midterm seasons, but high like George Bush's was, W. Bush, in 2002, just months after 9/11, and that year was one of the few years Republicans gained seats. Right now, everyone agrees Biden's approval's in the toilet. Absolute approval. And again, the way that works itself out is you have undecideds. Most people don't follow politics the way we do. Remember, this is a very new thing. It just started in the 19th century to have this learned commentary on politics and to follow it and to analyze it and to read up on some political theory and so on. That's very, very new thing for a citizenry. That was always part of the aristocratic class or the kingly, the monarchical class, what have you. But of course the classical ideal of Athens was that as well, but it tended to get lost and it's been revived 19th century onward. Most people, that's all to say, most people don't pay attention. So the key is when they do pay attention, when they start paying, which is about 2 or 3 weeks before an election, what are they looking at? Well, they're looking at the president. And when they look at him, and then they look at their, in this case, the inflation, the cost of living crisis, and the pain at the pump, and all that sort of stuff, when they look at all that, they go, ick. And then when they go during a midterm to decide who to vote for, they 9 times out of 10 don't vote for the president's party. They vote for the person who's campaigning on standing up against and putting a stop to these insane policies. So that's how it fleshes itself out. So keep your eye on the big picture, the more meta indicators for how things are going to go. Number one, and then number two, we have to do everything at local levels, especially that precinct strategy, to make sure there's no shenanigans when all's said and done. So I think you want to have both macro and micro view going on there. In the end, they could try all kinds of things, but in the end, there's not a lot that they can do. Steve Boland, thank you so much for your gift. Melinda, thank you so much. Skynet, yesterday was delicious. Bring back Trump. Amen, Skynet. And I think we're there. Now, I don't know if Trump will actually come. I don't know if he'll actually come because, you've got Truth Social, so he doesn't necessarily want to compete against himself. But the very fact that the invitation is there is what's so wonderful. I'm sorry, Rudy. Good. Brandon, the anime god, Dr. Turley. My birthday today. Best gift ever. Happy birthday, Brandon. Happy birthday. Many more to come. USMC, how are they going to stop the voter fraud in PA with 250,000 ballots? So, yeah, you're seeing, I don't think Dr. Oz is going to win if we won't get the results the night of election like 2020. We'll have to see. Again, we're going to have to see. If you're in Pennsylvania, get out and do something. Get out and make sure you're part of the precincts and part of the counting process. Walking Roscoe, Elon Musk is the first African-American to own a major social media company. A huge win for social rights. You're being mean. Walking Roscoe, that's great. Yes, that's true. He is an African-American, that's for sure. Oh, my gosh. Curtis Reynolds, what? Election deniers on the left? Yeah, you're allowed when you're on the left. That's the sad. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. I just skipped over a bunch. Forgive me here. Powder River, but yes, you're right. Powder River, Elon. What will happen to all those accounts of the woke employees and the executives Elon fired? Will they still be allowed on Twitter? Just curious. Love you. And what you stand for. Of course, they'll still be allowed. The question is, will they want to be on there with all the trolls coming and just absolutely crushing them? I don't know. I doubt they're going to want to have anything to do with Twitter after this. Polite rude guy. I'm still banned on Twitter. Elon has done that. Well, hopefully he will do something for you, polite rude guy. Buford T. Justice, with Twitter being taken over by Musk, FBI and CIA intelligence operatives are crying the hardest. Cheers to the death of Operation Mockingbirds. Very good. And also Dan Beatty of Revolver News has been very, very up on the way Twitter has been manipulated by the deep state to its own favor. So, amen. Excellent. Arthur, and by the way, that's also why we have to watch out, because now Elon Musk is public enemy number one. He doesn't seem to care, which is beautiful. Arthur Kuwar, in my home country of Tanzania, my account was banned for speaking about biological sex being the same as lions and elephants, male and female only. In Tanzania. It's terrible. Sent twice, Arthur Kuwar. My home. Oh, sorry. There you go. Edward White, thank you so much. Let's see. Old Man Jenkins, Skyrim. This feels like Sauron's tower collapsing. I love it. I think it is. The eye is beginning to implode. Genetics matter. I hope Musk reinstates the accounts of Nick Fuentes of America First and Vincent James of the Red Elephants. Sounds like he's going to. Tyler W., advice for wanting to start my own media venture. Well, we'd have to, that'd be a lot of advice there, or just there's a lot of things going there. But there's never been a better time. You don't have to deal with gatekeepers anymore. Generally, if you had to do back in the day a media venture, you'd have to try to convince Salem Radio to give you you have to audition, give you a spot. Now, if you have a webcam and a microphone, you can start. Make sure you find a shtick. You're going to have to find something that makes your media analysis unique. and that contributes. When I did my PhD, I'll never forget my supervisor. One of the first things he said to me is, "You do realize, there's tens of thousands of PhDs being written every year, even in my discipline, which was early Christianity and cultural anthropological analysis of of early Christianity." And he looked at me and said, "You're going to have to find something that nobody in the world has ever found before. And then you're going to have to try to prove it." So that's your niche. What are you doing that no one else is doing? Find that niche and get a camera and a microphone, and you're going to be amazed at what you can do. So there you go. Curtis Reynolds, what? Election deniers on the left. There you go. Deuce Coop, is this the famous House of Cards coming down? Here's to logic and common sense. I wish you all a most enjoyable weekend. Is that Sweden and the United States? Yes, it is. I think it is. Without Twitter, I think it's the beginning of the end, because now we have the total free, something we never had before. You have to let this hit you. The total free expression of an alt narrative to that of the establishment globalist narrative. We now have the single biggest global platform to disseminate an alternative narrative on all subjects. And the media knows now they have some serious competition that they can't crush anymore. So it is, I think, the beginning of the end. Eaters of Dead, please talk about Murkowski, how we must get her out, as well as not voting McMuffin in Utah. There are progressive rhinos that are just Dems, that are really just, yeah, that's why I prefer Diablo, Democrat in all but label, as opposed to rhino, Republicans in name only. Same thing, it's just I like the Diablo thing. Yeah, Murkowski, I mean, she's wicked. She's horrible. And McMuffin is wicked and horrible. I don't think you have to worry about McMuffin. I don't think that's what is his name? I don't even, what is it, McDonald or whatever his name is, in Utah. I think Mike Lee is fine. Murkowski, we'll have to see. What is it? Chewbacca? If you've been following, I'm terrible with names. It's just one of those things I just can't get my head around. But anyway, we'll have to say because you have that, whatever it's called, that kind of pyramid style of voting that's so bizarre and nutty up in Alaska. Yeah, hopefully we're going to get rid of her. Mitch McConnell's all for Murkowski. He's disgusting. I really hope Rick Scott, who's not great, but he's infinitely better than Mitch McConnell. I certainly hope he challenges him for Senate leader, because we've got to get rid of him. We've got to get rid of McConnell. He's disgusting. So yeah, hopefully Murkowski's going to lose, but I don't know. I have no faith in that system. I have no precedent to draw from, so I just can't analyze it. She's endorsed the Democrat over and against Sarah Palin. So hopefully they're going to work some things out in Alaska, because that's just ridiculous. Political Trucker, been here since 5,000 followers. Congrats on almost 1 million. Thank you, PT. That is, God bless you, man. Since 5,000, gosh. We've been on quite the ride, haven't we, Political Trucker? So thank you so much for that. Yeah, we're almost there at 1 million. Well, we'll do a live stream. We'll have to do a live stream for 1 million. Just celebrate it and just open it up for your questions and the like. What do you think Republicans would get done with McConnell McCarthy's Republican leadership, such as voting and new rules for the House? We'll see. So my hope is that we're going to see the House. The House is going to be the single most populous House since the 1920s. It is going to be a MAGA House. And then we're going to see your quintessential nationalist populist light party as opposed to a nationalist populist right party. So in Europe, if you don't like the way the center right is working, then you just start your own party like Marine Le Pen did, or Matteo Salvini did, or Giorgia Meloni, or whatever. You create your own party. Jimmy Åkesson, the Sweden Democrats. You create your own party. It is 100% patriot, MAGA based from grassroots all the way to leadership. But then you get into parliament, and all of a sudden you do have to coalition with the more milquetoast center-right parties. That's the same thing that's happening here, except we just shove it all into one party. We've got a MAGA-based grassroots, MAGA-based new era, new generation of, Marjorie Taylor Greenes and so forth. And then you have the milquetoast Rhino Diablo leadership. So that's what we mean by nationalist populist light party, as opposed to a nationalist populist right party, a fully patriot party from top down. So I'm hoping that the nationalist populist portion, the patriot portion of that party, does force McCarthy and McConnell to move more in that direction. That is generally the pattern that we see. Otherwise, if they try to pull a Boehner, like what John Boehner did, where he tried to put a stop to the Tea Party, what he considered the Tea Party nonsense that took over in 2010, eventually McCarthy will get voted out. So McCarthy's playing ball right now. McConnell, we'll see. Again, I hope McConnell gets challenged because he's just absolutely a snake and horrible. He's just imagine Karl Rove as leader of the Senate. That's Mitch McConnell. So here's something I'd like your take on, Steve B. How about the new info about how Meta's crashing in the stock market? Zuck wants this metaverse so badly. Yeah. So we've done a video on that. Meta has lost 3 quarters. It's lost 75% of its market value over the last year. Its users are literally hemorrhaging. They're abandoning in droves. And Zuckerberg is no longer part of Forbes' top 10 most rich, which is pretty extraordinary. No, I think it's falling apart. I do. I think it's falling apart. I don't know where it's going to go because they still have lots of money. But I think investors are going to start abandoning it. And who knows? Maybe someone will take it over. But Facebook seems a little bit, and the whole metaverse thing seems just a little out there. And it's an idea that's just not catching on, like CNN Plus. So I think the days of Zuckerberg having major power, like he did during the 2020 election, and stifling, for example, the Hunter Biden laptop story at the behest of the FBI, of course, I think those days are over. I think they're pretty done. Their effect on 2022 has been literally nilled. So Chauncey Hart, the RGA just sent $750 to Minnesota. They clearly think Jensen is a good shot. What are your thoughts? Getting very confident about our chances. Yeah, Chauncey, definitely. I was listening to Rich Barris talking about Jensen last night. Again, it's just so hard. It's trying to get out of that Twin City, or trying to overcome that Twin City, barrage of leftist vote. It's just hard. It's hard in Minnesota. So Minnesota and Nevada, I think, are kind of comparable in that sense, that they're just Democrat machines. But if there were ever a year, this is the year. So that's cool that the RGA, I wish they would send some money to Mastriana. Abdiel, greetings, Steve. What do you think about the future of Facebook? There you go. What's going on Twitter? Yeah, I don't see anybody. I'm wrong, but I don't see anybody buying Facebook. I think they're ready to just let it dissolve on the ash heap of history. Danger Zone, thank you, and Salty Army, Sound of Ree. Salty Army is one of the guests I'd love to have. So, Eaters of Dead, what can we do to discourage McConnell and McCarthy getting voted in as leadership positions? MTG, Jim Jordan, or Trump for speed? Yeah, really, amen. Well, call your representatives, your MAGA representatives, and have them lead an uprising. MTG will do it. She'll lead an uprising, no question. Have them come in. Joe Kent, it looks like he's going to win. Have them lead a massive uprising in the House. And in the Senate, again, Trump has already been talking about, remember, when the Republicans, because that's what it looks like, right? When the Republicans stampede into the majority, everyone's going to be looking at Trump as the one that helped do it, because it's the MAGA faithful that were the ones who got voted in. The post-mortem is going to be what a disaster Biden is, and you can be sure they're going to start talking about replacing him after that. So with Trump at the helm, Trump is going to be pushing for Rick Scott. And the question then is, how much is our House of Lords Senate the Republicans in the Senate going to respond to that? They're their own aristocracy. We'll see to what extent they respond to that. So just keep pushing your representatives, your senators, to push for change in leadership. Film review. Oh, sorry. The Landlord Harassment Channel. If conservatives are so small government, not necessarily. Don't throw in a libertarian definite. Libertarianism, small government conservative, is a species of the overall genre of traditionalists. A conservative is a traditionalist. That's how a Texas conservative that's what a Texas conservative shares in common with a Hindu conservative in Mumbai. Okay, it's not necessarily small government. Watch out for that. That's where you get your McMuffin freaks in this. All right, sorry. If conservatives are so small government, why is their answer everything more laws, more prisons, more donut boys in the streets? Well, landlord, you're more. First of all, I think that's a very generalized statement, because that's certainly not Rand Paul's take, or that's certainly not Mike Lee's take, or even Ted Cruz's take. So they're going to represent more the libertarian, smaller government form, the Milton Friedman wing of the party. But they're not. That's not the only conservative out there. That's not Viktor Orban conservatism. Viktor Orban or Putin conservatism, for that matter. They are very muscular governments to enforce and protect faith, family, and freedom against woke forces. So they because big business can be just as oppressive, as we've found out, right, with Twitter and all. Big business can be just as oppressive, if not more so, than big government. So you got to be, libertarians are not. I don't know. You got to watch out for that. Again, I have no problem with small government, believe me, but they better be defending good things. Film review. Loved your analysis of The Northman. Keep up the good work, my friend. Yeah, that was a few months back. Thank you, film review. It's very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. It was a neat movie. I really appreciated that. Tom Greer, Dr. Steve, you are the news now. I am the captain now. Look at me. I am the captain now. Thank you, Tom. That's very sweet. You're getting better and better, Jason Stokes. You're getting better and better. And so are you, Jason. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Jason. Julius Gallery, thank you for the gift. Vaughn Blaylock, almost 1 million subs, Doc. Congrats. Thank you, Vaughn. And it's because of you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Lisa Bailey, I'm worried about Minnesota elections. I'm an election judge. I'll be watching. Well, there you go, Lisa. Excellent. Very good. Sure. It could, we'll see. We'll see how Minnesota goes. We'll see. It's tough. Minnesota is as blue as they get. Minnesota will forever be tarred and feathered with voting for Mondale in '84. So what are you going to do, right? Dion, 2020, sink in yet? Yes, sink in. Yes, I believe let the sink in. Let that sink in has come in. That's right. Magellan, 51, now you'll see Twitter being targeted by the Justice Department. We know how the game is played, Magellan. You got it. Now they're going to be targeted by the Justice Department, the FBI, no other platform but Twitter, as President Trump reestablished. We'll see. I looked before I went on live, and no, I did not see Trump reestablishing his Twitter as of yet. Stephen Anderson, Dems are hoping they retain the Senate. No chance. I think they're falling apart. Again, anything can happen. We don't want to be complacent, right? But as things stand, I think we're gonna hold on to the one seat that's being contested, which is Dr. Oz's seat. I think he's way ahead of Fetterman at this point, and so I think that's gonna be fine. Herschel Walker is surging past Warlock. I think he'll win easily. I don't know by double digits, but he'll win easily. And I think Blake Masters is way ahead. I think he's going to win easily. So that's 52 seats. I don't think we have to worry about it. Laxalt should win, but it's going to be a smaller margin just because it's Nevada. And Nevada is tough. Nevada is hard. And then, of course, the outliers would be things like Washington, Patty Murray's seat, and New Hampshire. Again, if they all came in, we're looking at 55, 56 seats, so it's pretty impressive stuff. But no, I don't think the Democrats are going to hold the Senate. Eaters of the Dead, do you remember Fulton Sheen? Yeah, I've been watching his old shows. They're great. Yeah, Bishop Fulton Sheen, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Again, conservative classical Catholicism is on the rise among young people. When they brought back the Latin Mass, they were expecting 80-year-olds to show up. Oh, I remember this is how we did our Mass when we were growing up. They were astonished to find out it was 16 to 26-year-olds that were showing up. They want a faith rooted in mystery and in history, and Fulton Sheen would be part of that traditionalist wing of the Catholic Church, not the insane liberal modernist wing that just are nonsense. All right, Nostalgia Catholic, you are the speaking of a nice segue. Last one here, 170,000 IRS agents. Why are they armed with guns rather than 1040 tax code details? Why is no one but me concerned? Well, I think a lot of people are concerned, Nostalgia Catholic. I don't think you have to worry about it because Kevin McCarthy has already said they're not going to fund it. The House is not going to fund the 170,000 IRS agents. So I think we're okay there. And Chauncey threw that in. Minnesota must not be that blue. If Jensen is ahead, no, granted, ahead in the most recent Trafalgar poll, and Mastriano is 8 points behind. No, gotcha, Chauncey. Absolutely. Absolutely, Chauncey. No, when I say it's so blue, I'm talking about kind of just the power structures in the end, the way the Twin Cities tend to have this inordinate. It's very similar to the way Oregon is blue. Oregon is blue around Portland and Salem, but the whole rest of the freaking state, we're talking 3/4 of the state, is solid red. They want to secede. They want to form Greater Idaho, which if they were successful in doing, if I recall, would be the 4th largest state in the union. I mean, they're that big, that territory. Minnesota definitely is like that. Definitely. Minnesota was part of the defection counties, the nearly 200 defection counties in Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Minnesota that had voted Democrat in every election, presidential election, since the 1980s, that defected, white working class voters defected en masse and voted for Trump. But it wasn't enough to overcome that Minneapolis, St. Paul wall that is just preventing Minnesota from going really. You get your Palentis and all, but rhinos and all, but getting deep red. Absolute. Jensen seems to be awakening those numbers more and intriguing enough votes inside that Twin City wall so that his margin of loss is getting mitigated. Because what you have to do in every election is you have to maximize your wins and minimize your losses. So you're not just interested in winning counties. You're interested in keeping your losses in counties you know you're not going to win, but you're going there to keep those losses minimal so that the margins add up so that you win by 2, 3, 4 points. Because all those 2, 3, 4 points are margins when all is said and done. Margins of huge margins in your rural areas, for example, and then hopefully mini margins of loss in your urban areas. If you're Republicans, the reverse if you're a Democrat. So what Jensen seems to be doing is precisely that. That's the sweet spot. That's what Dr. Oz has been doing. He's maximizing his win margins in the rural areas, getting massive amount of votes, and he's minimizing his losses in the urban areas so as to minimize his losses. Mastriano is getting killed in that second category. He's maximized his wins, as I understand it, but he's also maxing out on his losses, and that's not good. Whereas Oz has been able to thin that out. So absolutely, no, Minnesota's ready to go, no question. It's ready to go. It's just at least with Pennsylvania, we've got some precedent for it. We got 2016. They flipped and went Trump. They obviously flipped and went Trump. Almost, right? 2020. Whereas Minnesota's just disappointed both times. So for me, when I'm analyzing, I don't have a precedent. I don't have to say, yeah, it's going to be 2016 all over again in Minnesota. I don't have that. They just keep disappointing. They just the blue powers that be just seem to always have the set revenge. So I'm with you. I'm totally pulling for Minnesota. And if it happens, if Jensen wins, Then finally, now we have precedent. Now from now on, we get into 2024, get 26, 28. Come on, guys, let's make it 2022 all over again. Let's make Minnesota red. All right, so there you go. No, you're very, very good point. Ken R, 1800. Did you see mine from the beginning? Oh, Vermont, did I miss yours? Ken R, I'm sorry. Oh, and I made you spend a little few other dollar. I'm sorry, Ken. I'm sorry. Where is yours? I don't see it. Okay, so I must have missed it. All right, so let me see, Ken. So, so you're asking me about the Vermont Senate. Vermont Senate. Yeah. What's there was a Trafalgar poll. It was a few weeks back, right? That had the Republican like within single digits, if I recall. So this isn't the Bernie Sanders, right? Bernie Sanders is not up for re-election this year or something. It's the other one. Is it Welch's? Something like that. Welch, the Democrat. And so the Republican challenger was up within a few points, if I recall. A handful, right? 6, 7, something. So, but I haven't been following it, to be honest with you, Ken R. I haven't seen anything since then. That was a few weeks back. And I have not seen anything with Vermont. So I don't know. But that was intriguing. That caught my eye. That was definitely an intriguing poll. You don't normally see that. Normally it's going to be a 20-point gap. Vermont is just very, very libby. So in the end, I'm a New Englander too. In the end, grew up in Connecticut. I've been there. I've been living in another blue area since, but Vermont's gonna be Vermont. I don't see a huge change in that yet. So I wouldn't. I mean, one can always hope, but I wouldn't count on it. So there you go. All right, guys. Sorry, I missed that, Ken. All right, guys. That's it. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the freedom, the restored freedom of Twitter. And hopefully it's just the beginning of much, much more to come. Have a wonderful week. I'll stop in with you, just little videos here and there, just as the news trickles in. Maybe I'll grab my cigar and I'll have one out. I'll do a video out on the porch. God bless, gang. Have a wonderful weekend with you and yours.